So before this video starts, I would like to say that this video is a very stripped down version of what I learned from this Andrew Huang video, which I highly advise you watch because it helped me a lot. It's very in-depth, it's about 30 minutes long, but I recommend you watch all of it because it's very helpful and gives you a very in-depth look at what music theory is and how to apply it to your own work. But if you guys want a more basic version, like the bare necessities of music theory, then I highly advise you guys to keep watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and yeah, let's go! So the first thing we're going to be talking about today are chords. So what are chords? Chords are when you play 3 or more notes at a time. An example of this is a C major chord, which involves the notes C, E, and G. You basically just, if you have a piano, you hit all those notes at the same time, or if you're in FL Studio or your DAW, you click them in on the same thing so they stack on each other, and then you hit spacebar, then boom, you got a chord. Okay, so the key to making a major chord is going up 4 half steps and then up 3. So what I mean by this is you're gonna start at C, and then you're gonna go up 4 half steps. So you're gonna go from C, you're gonna go to C sharp, D, D sharp, and then you're gonna place the second note on E. So you're going from C to E, and then from that E, you count 3. So you go F to F sharp to G. So there you have a C major triad. And for a minor chord, instead of 4 and 3, you go 3 and 4. You go from C to D sharp to G. And yeah, if you noticed, the middle note in the minor chord is a half step below the note that would make it major. So instead of being a D sharp, it would be an E. So that's how you make a minor chord from a major chord and a major chord from a minor chord pretty much. And yeah, I'll show a video of what I'm doing in FL Studio so you'll understand it better. So the next thing I want to briefly touch on is making chord progression. A chord progression is basically the progression of your chords, so this is how the flow of your melody will go. An example of a chord progression, so you know what I'm talking about, if you take the C major scale, so C is the first note in the scale, and then we have D, which is the second, and so if you go from the 1 to the 2, you're going from the C major, which is C, E, G, to the D minor, which is D, F, A, and that creates a progression. So a change in the chords pretty much. What to do is to look up popular chord progressions to get inspiration. There's a lot of MIDI kits and chord progression kits, which is all fine, and I personally use them from time to time. But honestly, I just go with what feels right. So if you take a C major, you go from C, E, G, and then you look to see what's in the scale, and you can go from like C, E, G to E. So you can go from that, and that's E, G, B. And you kind of go off the feel of what you want your melody to be like. So if you want it to go from happy to sad to happy, stuff like that. Because major chords is happy and minor chords are sad for the most part. Of course, there's exceptions to this rule, but that's pretty much how you want to go about it. I don't really think about that stuff too often. I just kind of place bass notes, so I go from like C to D, and then I fill in the chords by placing thirds and fifths and sevenths and all that sort of stuff on top of it to make it, make it actual full chord. And I think a good rule of thumb is to either just make like random chords and just have the top line support it, or if you make a melody first, you have the chords support it, so that way the chords are supporting the top line, and yeah. Okay, so to help further illustrate my point, listen to this melody right here. So watch what happens when we take out these first 2 chords. Do you notice how it's so empty and it's so just unfull, I guess? So when we put these back, it just adds so much depth and bass to the melody. And so this is what I was talking about when I said you want chords that complement the top line, which is the G sharp, B, G sharp, and F. And this can be tricky, and you may just have to play around with it, but it also helps to know what notes are in the scale. So you basically just want to play like every note that's in the scale just to find out what you like best. You want to experiment, and you don't have to go through all of them. You might just find one that catches your ear, and you'll be like, oh, okay, that's it. That's the one. And that's what I did right here. I basically just played like a random 2 notes that I knew were in the scale after I played this little melody. And yeah, it worked perfectly. And for the chord progression part, you kind of just also want to either go up or down. So for this one, I decided to go down. So I went from E. So they're going to have some sort of relationship when you go a step down. And yeah, that's pretty much how I did it. You kind of have to find things that are in the scale. And then yeah, to pick the note, for like the next note for the second chord, I guess, you kind of want to go, it sounds good, so you want to go. And you want to see which is too high for you, because I could go like this. And that also sounds good, but it's too high, and it's kind of out of range, I would say. I can go low, but it also sounds too low. It may be in the key, but it just doesn't hit right. So you want to find where it kind of resolves to you, and you want to see where it sounds good to you, because the other notes could have sounded good to you, but for me, the G sharp is good. It's the 5th up from the D, so I think that the D sharp. And 5ths are very good. They're a very good rule of thumb to have. If it's a 5th, it most likely will sound good. Of course, there's context, but yeah. And a 5th is just like going 5 semitones or 5 half steps up from this note. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And yeah. Okay guys, so one of the most important things you guys are going to have to get comfortable with is making top lines, melodies, leads, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, they're extremely important. They're probably the most memorable part of most songs. Like, take for example the beat to Walkin' by Rich Amiri. It's just kind of a standard like yeet beat until that little lead hits, and it's just like crazy. It's just crazy.
And now GTR, when I'm sliding, I don't fall out, she just riding. I took Molly to 5 cents. I'm in Prada, I'm too locked in.
It was very unique at the time. A lot of beats have copied it. I've tried to copy it myself, and that's just because it was a crazy, unique lead and one of the most memorable parts of the whole song. So you guys are gonna have to master how to make good, catchy leads. So I'll play a lead that I think I've made on video or something. I don't remember. This is probably one of my best melodies I've ever made. So yeah, here you go. And yeah, it sounds a lot better in the actual context of like the beat, but yeah. So basically what you want to do is find out the key of your chords. So yeah, for this one it doesn't really matter because I only used the white notes. So I basically kind of used the C major scale, even if it isn't like C major, you know? I just use all the white keys, and I use all the white keys for the lead, so they all sound good together. So yeah, you just want to start out with like the first note. So I started out with a B, so you play it all together. So yeah, it kind of fits, and you have to go like, you have to play around and see what sounds good. And yeah, you have to kind of go up and down, so like. And it also helps if you listen to a lot of music. Just listen to music every day. Listen to all sorts of music to find out how they make their melodies. That's going to help you a lot because you're going to get a lot of inspiration from those types of melodies. This is really about just experimenting, and I would recommend looking at, watching producer videos, seeing how they make their melodies. Watching Nick Mira live streams or Real live streams or DT live, any like big music producer live streams, those are gold. Those are extremely valuable, and I'm so glad they do that for us because they're super helpful for making melodies. You can see how they do it. Like, you can see how Nick Mira made All Girls Are the Same, Bandit, hella stuff like that, and it's crazy. So I also recommend watching my videos in the future because I'm going to show you how I make my melodies. So yeah, go subscribe and all that jazz. But yeah, you're basically if you have chords already, you're making the top line to support the chords and to give the chords more emotion. So you kind of go off that, go off the notes of the chords, and you'll pretty much be fine. Of course, you can always do other stuff, go off the key, go out of key and stuff. But yes, go off what you think sounds good. There's no real method of making melodies. It's just kind of like taking what you've heard works in other songs and applying it to your specific beat. Alright guys, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys found it helpful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hopefully you can take this information and apply it to your own music. Go out and create some amazing stuff. And yeah guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, I'll see you guys next time.